A dynamic entry, and guess what, guys? It's the end of the year, and you know what that means. Everyone's gonna give you their yearly wrap-ups, like what's the best game, what's the worst game, who's the best video game character. Well, I don't want to do that this year. I want to talk about what is the best year of gaming ever. So let's talk about it. So there are a lot of years to choose from with when it comes to gaming. There's at least one, right, that we know of. There's at least 1 year of gaming fully. I don't know the exact number, which is why I said one. But hey, I want to talk about one specifically. There have been plenty, like I said, good years of gaming. And in the comments down below, you can let me know what is your favorite year specifically. But for me, in this video, I want to talk about the year of 2013. Crazy to think about that it's almost been a decade. Well, technically next year is going to be a full decade since we've gotten 2013, and it does not feel like that at all. Granted, we did lose kind of like 2 years to circumstances, but yes, 10 years. I want to look back on that. I guess that's what it seems like now, just looking back on a decade of gaming. But no, 2013 specifically was a great year for gaming, the best in fact, because not only did they have good releases, but we had a good console release. That's right. So 2013 marked the release of the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. Both systems, really only one, is really, really good. The other one, it's whatever. Coming off the 360, the Xbox One, let's just be honest, was not it. And the PS3, not my favorite. So coming to a PS4, it changed the entire game. The PS4 was a revelation for systems. For me, it was a magical time. And not to mention, it was really easy to get a PS4. I think it only took me about maybe 2 months really to get a PS4. For the PS5, I barely got one earlier this year. That's like 2 years of waiting. It's not fair for those who don't have one, and I appreciate you guys still trying out there. They are getting on the shelves more regularly, so hopefully good luck to you in your hunt. But yes, the PS4 marked the beginning of a great year. I guess technically the end of a great year of gaming, because it came out in holiday season of 2013, so that is a strong point for why this year is so amazing. And yeah, if you are an Xbox fan, I didn't really explore the Xbox One. I just know from friends who had it, they were kind of like, it's okay. It's not like the 360. So I can't speak too much on the Xbox One, but it is cool to always get the two dual releases of consoles. Those magical years that it happens. I think it was maybe like 2 weeks between the two that released. So I think the Xbox One came out like November 10th or whatever, and then the PS4 came out like November 25th or whatever, something like that. So boom, that battle right there solidified 2013. Not only that, like I said earlier, we did get some really good games. So quickly, I'll just rattle off some of the ones that were really cool, but I didn't really spend a lot of time with, or they weren't as impactful, I guess, looking at it now. But we did get the revamped, relaunched version of Tomb Raider, the Lara Croft one. Well, I guess that's the only one they ever had. But this Tomb Raider specifically was super cool. Took a lot of elements from the old game and kind of just like brought it into the new way of gaming. It felt very new and fresh, and it was the first time that I actually like fully played a Tomb Raider game. Beforehand, I would see people play it, I'm like, oh, that's cool, or I'd play like a couple demo discs back in the day. You know, if you know, you know, I guess, demo discs. But yes, this Lara Croft Tomb Raider series that came out, that started in 2013, was the beginning of a cool little run. They did kind of fall off throughout the years, but that first one was a really nice little, just, hey, here's Lara Croft Tomb Raider, get used to her. Then for you BioShock fans, we got BioShock Infinite. That was a really cool game. I did not play this game. I never really got into BioShock. I don't know why, but when I do see them, I'm like, hey, I appreciate this. It is a good game. And when I saw my friends playing BioShock Infinite, I thought it was cool, the story and the way it connected, and it just gives you like new wrinkles in the story. You're like, oh, that's cool the way they connected the entire thing, and it was kind of like a prequel, but it was one of those weird ones that like connected to the very beginning. It was kind of like Back to the Future in a way. Yeah, this game was really cool, and people who do love BioShock really do love this game specifically, so that was a pretty good addition to the year of 2013. And then we also got Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. For me, I personally did not like it because it had a lot of the ships. I know that was the whole thing. That was like the selling point of it. Coming from Assassin's Creed 3, which I really enjoyed. I know it's a mixed bag. People don't really like Assassin's Creed 3. Don't know why. I thought it was sick. But Assassin's Creed 4 is highly regarded by the Assassin's Creed fans. It's probably like one of the better games. But anyway, Assassin's Creed 4 did introduce the pirate ships, and that was a cool aspect for people who did enjoy it. I couldn't get the hang of it. Maybe that's why I didn't like it. But if I did get a hang of it, I probably would have liked the game a lot more. But those who do play Assassin's Creed really do enjoy Black Flag, and it's probably one of the better ones that come out in the last few years. So Assassin's Creed 4, again, adding to those little small releases that came out that year. Not so small, but small for compared to the other ones. Great release for them, 2013. We also got Dead Space 2. People enjoyed Dead Space. They played Dead Space 1 and they were like, dang, this game is scary and awesome and makes me feel away. And they're like, all right, you know what? We doubled down. Here's Dead Space 2. And it was a nice little addition to the Dead Space universe. I know, what is it? The Callisto project. I think it's Callisto project. I got that wrong. Is out now, the creator of Dead Space. And that's highly regarded right now. People are enjoying that a lot. So seeing where it came from, Dead Space 2 in 2013, and seeing how that kind of laid the groundwork for his further releases shows you how like advanced that game was for the time. Again, another game that I didn't play personally. I feel like a lot of these I didn't play personally, but I was aware of it at the time, and my friends who did play it, they really do enjoy it. I don't know what it is. Maybe I was just too afraid to get into the Dead Space universe or something like that, but I just never got into it. But I did respect it because I was like, you know what, this has a place in gaming. Horror gaming is a fun little like niche crowd, and yeah, I did enjoy and respect Dead Space 2 for what it is. Okay, so some of the bigger releases of 2013 for me, starting us off, we have Nintendo. See, it wasn't only just the PS4 and the Xbox One ruling the day. No, Nintendo had a couple releases, but the main one that I was most hyped for, the reason I bought a Nintendo 3DS XL, I think at the time, was for Pokemon X and Y. So for me, this is probably like the best Pokemon game that we've had in the last decade or so. The ones that came after it, they're okay, but they're not X and Y. For some reason, X and Y just really changed the whole Pokemon, the way we played it for me, I guess, because it was bigger, the graphics were crazy, they had mega evolutions, and the Pokemon that they introduced were sick, but also the storyline was really cool. And I don't know, it just X and Y has a special place in my heart for some reason. It's like nothing recently can compare to it. I have not finished Scarlet and Violet, but so far, I still think X and Y holds up compared to these new games. These new games, I don't want to sound like, oh, back in my day. No, these new games are cool, but X and Y was just like, oh, it was everything. I played Y, did not play X, because I always play the technically, I guess, the red route of Pokemon games. There's like a whole route where you always lean more towards one version than the other. And yeah, Y for me was super sick. And yeah, it really just reignited my love for Pokemon, because at that time I could think I was kind of like a little older. So I was like, oh, Pokemon's still fun. I'll play here and there. But yeah, Y was like, oh man, this is super sick. Especially, I guess, coming off of Pokemon Black and White, I believe. And I didn't like that game. Those games were not very good. And then we had one of the coolest fighters that we've had in a while. Now, I know it's not a classic like, you know, Street Fighter and Tekken and all that, but Injustice, for me, this was a game that was like, oh my god, it's everything I ever wanted, because at the time, I was super into comics and I was reading a lot of books, and seeing DC characters come to life and fight each other was amazing, because I prefer DC a little bit over Marvel as far as the heroes and characters go. So it's cool to see them fight, but also it was cool to see them not be Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe, because that was a mess of a game. But this one came out and I was like, this is really fun. It was actually one of the first times I entered like a little tournament. I've never like competed in any game really, but this was the first time our comic shop at the time was doing like a little mini tournament. If you won, you got prizes or whatever. And it was I think maybe like a week and a half after the game came out, so people were kind of like getting used to it. They weren't like amazing at it yet, so I felt like, hey, if there's any time for me to compete, it would be now, because I don't have to put that much time into it. I can just kind of just practice for like a week and just see where I go. I got like, I think like third or fourth or whatever at the time, and it was maybe like 20-25 competitors, so it wasn't like an amazing place, but it was cool to be like, hey, I took like top 3 or whatever. Got a cool little shirt. But yeah, that game for me, was just cool, like seeing DC characters fight, the way that they moved, and coming off of Mortal Kombat. I feel like this was a good little transition to kind of for NetherRealm to get into more other properties besides just like Mortal Kombat constantly. And Injustice 2 came out years later, and that was cool, but Injustice 1 has a special place in my heart because I put so much time into it. And yeah, it was a good game. And then 2013 gave us the game that refuses to die to this day. Like I mentioned earlier, it's been nearly a decade. We got Grand Theft Auto 5. Yes, the game that people still play to this day in some form or fashion, mainly in GTA Roleplay Online. They do some crazy shit on there, the mods and everything. I'm just like, how are you still playing this game? But I mean, when I see the mods, I'm like, okay, I get it. But yeah, GTA 5 at that time, coming off of 4 wasn't bad, but 5 was like, ooh, it was sick. Because I'm one of those ones who plays the story mode. I don't want to like always go online. So the story itself was sick. The way that it transitioned from each 3 characters' point of view, you can switch like during like any given moment. You can be like, okay, well, I'm on him, I'm gonna go to this person now. It was, the way they did it was cool. Having LA as the backdrop was also really cool, because we kind of got that in San Andreas, but this like expanded it to like way more than just San Andreas. We got like a good view of like LA and everything around LA. So if you live there and you're driving around, you're probably like, hey, I know that place, more or less. And yeah, GTA 5 was just like a super sick game. The gameplay was smooth. The storyline was funny. It was gave me like the funniest moment in gaming ever. This moment right here.
Oh, my N-word, huh? What's up, homie? Huh?
Come on, how can you not die laughing at Trevor? That shit was so funny. It killed me. But yeah, so GTA 5 was just you can't deny it at this point. It's been around for so long, and it was just like, it was amazing. As much time as they took making it, it was worth it, because look at it, it's still here now. And when GTA 6 comes out, I'm sure it's probably going to be the same. If not, we'll go back to GTA 5. Lastly, my favorite game ever came out this year, The Last of Us. That's right, another game that kind of refuses to die. We're still milking it dry. We had a part 2, we have some remakes, and we got the show coming soon, which I hope is going to be good. I think it could break the curse of video game shows and movies that are bad. I feel like it's gonna be a good show finally. All you have to, it's just so simple. Just follow the storyline that they have in the game. It's just so clear and concise, and it's just, there's no empty parts to it, and you just have to just translate that to screen. It shouldn't be too hard. But yes, The Last of Us itself, though, for me, blew my mind. It came out, it was only on PS3, so I didn't have a PS3 like I mentioned earlier. I had the 360, so seeing this, I was like, damn, I kind of want to play that. And then my friend Mike, shout out to Mike, he was playing it, and I was watching him. He was doing a little playthrough, and I was like, fuck, this game looks really good. Like, this is like up my alley. That's the type of gamer I am. I like storylines, linear. Don't give me open world. You can do it to a certain extent, but I'm gonna get overwhelmed. I just want something that's just like, hey, do this, do that, and there you go. And again, going into the horror genre of video games, it's so niche already, so adding this to this was just like, oh my goodness. So it made me actually go out and get a PS4 like more quick than I was gonna get an Xbox One, because at the time I was 360, so I was like, maybe I'll just go to the Xbox One. And I was like, no, because if I get the PS4, I can play The Last of Us. And that's the only reason I wanted it. And it proved to be worthwhile, because that game, I've played that game over like at least 5 or 6 times, and I never do that with games. When I beat them, I trade them in, whatever, But Last of Us, it's so fun to just pick up every couple of years to play, especially if you have a friend who's never played it before. You can be like, hey, you want to play a game? They're like, yeah, sure. And you can sit back and watch them play, and that's just entertaining enough, because the storyline is so good, and the gameplay just feels so raw and violent when you're killing someone or killing a zombie. It just feels like you're actually doing it yourself, and it's just like, amazing. The storyline itself, like I said, is just like, how do they come up with this? It's sick. And then part 2 came out later. I like that. I don't care what you say. Last of Us 2 is great. I'm biased though, because I think Last of Us is the greatest game ever, because it is the greatest game ever, and this was 2013, the greatest gaming year ever. If you know any better, you can let me know down below in the comment section. Let me know what is your favorite year of gaming ever. There were a few options when I was looking through and doing a little research. I'm like, oh, this could have been a good one, this could have been a good one. But 2013 ultimately for me was probably my favorite gaming year, because it was the most I think I gamed, but also gave us like such strong titles that have lasted to this day. And yeah, 2013 fucking ruled for gaming, and gaming is awesome. So yeah, like I said, let me know down below what your favorite year is. Also, go ahead and subscribe, follow us, all that information is down below. And until next time, just go.